Same name, different game. This was an interesting time in gaming where you could buy two games with the exact same name, same cover art, and yet they were two completely different experiences. This one's rated mature, and believe it or not, this is a teen-rated Call of Duty. So, on the PS3, Xbox 360, Wii, and PC, it was developed by Treyarch and published by Activision, whereas on the DS, it was developed by N-Space, who were, well known for making some of the best first-person shooters on the Nintendo DS, and published by Activision. On the back, you can see there, completely different gameplay. It had a different campaign, multiplayer, zombies, etc., and yet it was still a really fun game, just a different experience. So, just the first one I wanted to talk about. The next one, we'll just briefly touch on. Every LEGO game was different on the handheld consoles compared to on like the main consoles like the PS3, PS2, etc. But they were still really fun experiences. They were just kind of like the same levels but laid out differently and obviously, kind of ported down. But it was still completely different games. And then my favorite example of this is Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. Whereas on, the consoles like the Wii, PS3, 360, it was a 3D level-based action-adventure beat-em-up type game. You go through the levels, you level up, you play as the 4 different Spider-Man. Whereas in the Nintendo DS version, which is my favorite version of the game, honestly, like if I had to choose, I just, there's definitely some nostalgia bias in there, but I just love this version of the game because of how unique it is, especially for a Spider-Man game. It is a 2D Metroidvania where you actually only play as 3 Spider-Man, 2099, Amazing, and Noir. And as I just said, it's a Metroidvania, so you go through the levels, and later in the game you have to backtrack in some of the levels to get more abilities, or, go through areas that you couldn't earlier because you didn't have the abilities to get through them. There's a really cool and unique villain roster in here, a lot of which are unique to this game and are different from the main flagship version. You still fight Mysterio and stuff like that, but this is a really cool version. And the other one I wanted to mention, I have the physical copy of the PS2 version, but I don't have the physical copy of the DS or the Game Boy Advance version, unfortunately, is Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, where on consoles, it's like a DMC God of War type game, hacky slashy, square, toss in a triangle, if you feel like being a little quirky. And then on the Nintendo DS and the Game Boy Advance, it's like a Turtles in Time inspired game, and it's just a really cool experience, and it's like one of my favorite DS and GBA games. But anyway, yeah, same name, different game. This was an interesting time in gaming, but I do kind of miss it because it was pretty cool, and we got a lot of really funny, unique experiences out of it, like with Shattered Dimensions on the DS.